My name is Evan Munro-Smith and I'm a director here at Stupid Old Studios. We have a studio space here in Brunswick. We use it for sort of small scale, kind of like the multicam TV style sort of productions, little live podcasts and panel shows, sort of bits and pieces like that. And when the pandemic hit in March or so, we decided to lean into that a bit more and do more live streaming, which is an area that we hadn't really done much of before. So we started off with a few BirdDog minis, and then we got, when the Flex was announced, we got a couple of those because they still do tally, they still do comms, it integrates really, really well with vMix. It just plug and play, it just works, which is really great. And then we have upstairs, I've turned my office into a makeshift control room, run all that with a 10 gigabit fiber connection up to the control room office. So it's pretty much everything is running through the switch in the studio, which is pretty nice.
Such an abrupt ending. What's going on, everybody? I am back from vacation, and it was an adventure, to say the least. When you take a 4 and an 8-year-old across the country, it's all bets are off as to what's going to actually happen. So we had a good trip out, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I am back. Special thanks to Senseless or Clay for taking over last week on Thursday. I know he had a little technical trouble on Tuesday. I watched part of the show yesterday. We also had new employees start yesterday, so we were pretty busy here in the office. And before I do much more, we are joined with BirdDogIan, who is at the Capture Summit over in Atlanta. So how's it going, man?
Atlanta, hot and sweaty, but good. having a lot of good conversations here. People already using the cameras, and people wanting to start using them. So can't ask for much more.
Yeah, that's great. I'm excited. So tell us a little bit about what's the audience at this summit, and what's really being showcased. You're in Atlanta, that's what we know. It's Metro Atlanta, it says, correct?
Yep. Yeah, we're actually in Lawrenceville, or near Duluth. So
nice.
Yeah, we're at a pretty big mega church here. And I think the show's really focused at, the smaller congregations. So, you have the larger ones using the very expensive big cameras, and then have a lot of staff on hand to drive those. And the ones at this show, they seem to be more the one-man bands. They have one person, two people running a bunch of cameras. And so this is definitely our wheelhouse here.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of business with folks like that. So that's a perfect place to be. Who else is what other booths are there besides BirdDog?
We got Ross, and we got Grass Valley, of course. Got the Canons. Sony's got some good cameras. They got their drones out here, so that's fun. Like to see that demo later on today.
Yeah.
The actual hall, though, I'll take you in there quickly. They're actually doing a show, but this is the pretty impressive part. Very loud.
Oh my goodness. Man, that's incredibly huge. Look at all that sound treatment and everything, eh?
Oh yeah. There is no echo, but there's speaking to you earlier about it, the camera guy went in there and took a decibel reading, and they're running it sustained 98 and then peaking at 120 decibels. So yeah, I'm right across from the doors, and it was shaking. So
wow.
Really rocking out here.
I have a hard time that's almost, that is concert level, audio level, right? On the high end almost.
I'd be concerned if I was doing this every Sunday.
Yeah. It's strange if you have to wear ear protection to go into a church auditorium.
Right. Yeah, that's my standard with concerts, Got to protect those.
Yeah, you're going to need those for the rest of your life. So it's one of those important things.
Yep.
Kevin's jumped on here. Hey, how's it going, Kevin? Good to see you, man. Long time no see. Well, it's only been a week, although it's probably felt like an eternity. Yeah, not even. What NetHab says, what even is a wheelhouse? Well, it's that niche market that we find that we're doing a lot of business in. We'll put it that way.
We're comfortable.
Yeah, well, the small church market, we introduced the 3 cameras and a keyboard deal, and we had a lot of people take us up on that, and so Man, we've
I
pushed.
had someone yesterday talk about, oh, I didn't know about you, and I just spent 5K on a camera that we're not happy with. I'm
Oh,
like,
really?
well, hopefully you're within your 30 days, and then you can take out one of our deals and get 3 P200s for 8K.
Yeah,
And a keyboard.
seriously. It's just a couple hundred more, and you can have multiple cameras. If they've bought one camera for 5,000, that's a little rough.
Yeah, and to be not happy with it, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, it's very subjective, right, in terms of what people like and don't like, and and so, oh, I don't like the image, or like maybe it's too complex. They don't know how to use it. That's something that we get fairly regularly, where it's just there's too many bells and whistles, and they just need some training. So, yeah, hopefully they can sort it out. But Brayton's having some sort of stroke with his keyboard, evidently. So
Yeah, the low light, that's been a big topic here.
Yep.
A lot of the other the competition, if you will, don't handle it so well, and people have been pretty impressed with ours. So that's good to hear.
That is good. I just even proper lighting, like that's a real tough conversation I've had with churches and stuff, where they buy expensive cameras and then they throw them in there and they're wondering why everything looks yellow. And it's just like, well, we need to talk about coloration a little bit and understanding just the basics of the camera. But even just adding, like, these are pretty inexpensive, like box lights, soft lights, and I think they make the world of difference, just even in this little studio. If you look at the progression of the videos that I've generated over the years, over the last 3 years, they like slowly get nicer and nicer and nicer. And it's because you add pieces and whatever. But people will expect that they're going to get broadcast quality when they have a really poor like lighting setup and or low lighting and that sort of thing. So
what's interesting that there's no lighting companies here. I would have expected there to be at least one. Tascam's here, so we have the audio side. We have a bunch of camera manufacturers, a couple integrators, and then Ross, of course, and Grass Valley. But the production side, but not the lighting. Maybe that's a different show.
Yeah,
because that is a beast in itself.
Yeah, and really complex. You get to these conversations with like people who make decisions for churches. We'll put it that way. It can vary, right? But who control the pocketbook, and there are those guys that think like it's just technology, or it's just a camera, or it's just a computer, or we bought a computer recently. Why isn't that one good enough, or whatever? And it's like, no, you bought a computer 10 years ago, and that computer is now gone, and it has no useful, Anyway, so you have these conversations. Well, lighting is the same thing, where you buy nice cameras and then you're like, okay, let's talk about lighting. And they're like, what's wrong with our lighting? It lights the stage or whatever. Well, these guys are used to walking into a church building auditorium and flipping on some switches, and the microphone turns on and the lights turn on and the sound system turns on, and there's no management of it whatsoever. But when you get to a scale where you're servicing 100 or 200 people or more, there's really no way around it. Somebody has to manage it at that point because there's a lot of power. Ooh, look at that. I want to spotlight this there. Oh, that's cool. Wait. Well, that eerily looks like DJI, but don't tell them I said that.
Right.
Wow, that is a beast. Why are they showcasing this at a church summit?
I don't know. And it's actually, they're actually doing the product demo with it. So, they got their who knows? The other fun parts are obviously the video walls.
Oh, nice. And video floors? What's going on there?
I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Is it a mirror? Is it a mirror?
No, that's another wall laying down there.
Interesting. Ooh, Fujifilm. There's Red. I expect Red to be there.
Right.
Do they have a camera that's in the market for churches, or are they just hoping somebody's got big, deep pockets?
I think deep pockets.
Okay.
And deep pockets they do have. It's some people just want Red. They're going to shoot things for streaming on Red.
Right. Yeah, which is like anyway. Oh, there's JVC.
It's just the color I like.
It's just to say we shoot everything on Red.
Mm-hmm.
But anything live doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now. There's Ross. That's cool.
Yeah, let's stream 8K.
Yeah.
We have SNS over here.
Cool. Hey. Hitachi, that's cool. Ooh, Tascam. I see some Audio Technica M50 sitting on the desk there.
And our friends over at B&H.
Friends at B&H. They have our logo up there right behind them.
Do they?
Or maybe not. Oh, I thought they
No.
had it. Okay.
And then
Broadcast
Fundamental
Solutions.
toy.
Oh, that's cool. It's like a little train track
Yeah.
with a PTZ camera on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's about it. Yeah, Axel AI is over on the other side, and that's about it. You know, media asset management and cloud editing.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, and of course, come on.
Ah, yes, there we are. The Bird Dog
our
Corner.
humble showcase.
3 cameras and a keyboard.
4 cameras.
4 cameras, technically.
Yeah, had to have the encoder just so that we could show off what was it? Central
Nice.
Pro.
Nice.
And as it's house of worship, you know, they get that for free. So definitely been interest to people because a lot of people have house of worship have multiple rooms. You know, they've got their cafe, they've got the quiet room, yada yada. And so the play has definitely been a topic here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
As it's been for the
and it's inching forward. I do see progress on the play front. So that's good news. We've got some, we'll say, beta testers that are working on some things for us. So it's getting really close. Just following up here on the chat real quick. So NetHab says, well, churches have story teams, testimonials, video bumpers, etc. Videographers are always asking for red. Yeah, the videographers always ask for red. Now, whether or not it's realistic, who knows? But agreed. Brayton says, "CC hacked me." That's what his little gibberish was about there. Okay, cool. And Webb, we'll get to your question in just a second here. Let me just go through. So that's cool, man. I'm glad. Thanks for checking in on us. We appreciate that and showing us a little bit of the Capture Summit. I didn't even know that the summit was going on, and evidently this was new to BirdDog as well, right? So we had landed a table here a few weeks ago, so that's awesome.
Yep, and then of course our Eastern Central team is having fun away.
Yes.
So California had to head out, and you know, I now really respect the dry heat.
Yeah, it's a little hot where you're at, huh? They call it Atlanta for a reason.
Oh man, no, $3.40 for a gallon of fuel. I was at a gas station yesterday, and someone was complaining about that, and I'm just thinking, I just paid $6.89 to fill up my Ram.
Yep. We came home from Seattle. And my wife was like, I just paid $4.06 for gas. And I was like, wait, you did what? And I was like, you bought $4.06 worth of gas? And she's like, no, per gallon. That's what I paid. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's way down compared to what it was. It was up at like $5.50 before, like a couple of weeks ago.
Again, everyone, I don't know, maybe east of Colorado, you can sit down.
Yeah.
Come talk to me when you talk $7.
The West Coast is ridiculous still. And for Canada, for that matter, I'm really hoping that it comes down this week in Ontario, because I'm about to go up there and it's $7 a liter. So,
oh man,
yeah,
what's that? 3.5 liters per gallon or something like that?
Yep, exactly right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's I don't understand, because it's like, it's not like they don't have petrol in Canada.
Yeah,
so
tar sands.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of it up there, but they refuse to refine it, so it costs an arm and a leg for a bunch of things. So, yikes.
Okay, I'll be quiet now.
Well, you can always find somebody who can one up you, but
yeah, right.
It is expensive where you're from, very expensive. I
used to be that way in England. You know, talking when Americans are saying it's up to $2. I'm like, really? Try $9 a gallon or a liter.
Yeah, they're really pushing. They're really pushing the renewables for any way they can. So
Yeah,
We'll
all
see.
we have are like 1.2 liter engines, so
Right. Yeah,
four bangers.
it doesn't help that I drive an F-150 V8, so I can't really complain. I just need to I try not to.
Yeah, my Hemi hurts me.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a guy that he drives I think it's like a Raptor or something like that, and he said I purposefully have to drive the EcoBoost. He has 2 trucks. He's like I have to drive the EcoBoost because the Raptor is just way too thirsty. It spends more time at the pump than it does at the road. So
I saw this meme the other day that was kind of like in the Ren and Stimpy or SpongeBob realm, and it's
yep.
like having a nasty little toad just like inching on the gas pedal, and that's pretty much me in the truck.
Yep.
Like, I'm not going over 55. Sorry.
No,
Go around.
You get way better gas mileage if you keep it under 2,000 RPM. So keep put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watching my eco setting, and it's like 99. Okay, push the pedal down. 6. Nope. Okay.
Yeah, we're all learning how to conserve in our own way. NetHab says try the F-150 Lightning. I don't think I'm in the demographic for the F-150. I like the idea, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to afford that vehicle. So I'll look into it. He says 2 kilowatts per mile, and then 34C per kilowatt.
Cents per kilowatt.
Yeah.
Yeah, my baseline is 28 cents per kilowatt hour in California, and then I blast through that up to 43 cents per kilowatt hour thanks to PG&E. So
wow.
it's up there a little, but it's still cheaper than gas, but not when you're buying a Rivian or a Lightning or a Tesla or Chevy Volt maybe.
I mean, you pay. I would really be interested to know like your monthly gas bill versus your monthly electrical bill when you're charging a vehicle, because like if it's a wash, then really you're buying the vehicle, like that's what it is. But if there's a drastic savings where you're paying a premium for a brand new electric vehicle, but you're saving, every month you're saving, several $100s, and that's a big difference. But I don't know. And of course, they probably don't want to really find out those stats because they want to sell they want to sell vehicles, period. But they,
and the battery longevity as well. There's all these somewhat unknowns, but are they actually cheaper, or are they actually just better for the environment?
Yeah. And how do we even generate that electricity? We have to figure out a way to do that effectively too. So anyways, it's all like I know there's polarization for this conversation, but there's also a lot of like research happening, which I'm excited to find out more about it, because I don't know a lot about it and I probably should. But in the meantime, I'm still driving a very thirsty F-150 to work every day. So I gotta do better than that.
Yeah, thankfully my work is at home unless I'm out here. So, it's our miles that we get paid for driving anywhere to customers. Slowly and surely that's becoming not profitable.
Yeah.
I'm paying for gas with that, not wear and tear.
Yeah, I was going to say if the price of gas, especially out in California, is going to be so high, then you're going to lose out on the mileage thing. I'm curious, did the federal government change its mileage expectations? Like there's a federal government standard, right?
I think it's 58 cents or something like that. But that would be very quick for a government to change it as the fuel changes. The bureaucracy should slow that down.
Yeah, that's true. Washington right now for business rates for 7/1 through the end of the year is 62.5. But for right now, wait. Oh yeah, this is the 7th month. So yeah, 62.5 cents per mile. That's up
4 cents
because it was 58.5 the first half of the year. So there you go.
Right on.
I still don't think it's profitable if you're going to drive out of California.
Or the 5.7 Hemi.
Right. Yeah.
It's cheap on the way down the hill. I'm up at 2,500 feet, and then Sacramento's 100 or so. So going down's cheap. Going back up, unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a doozy. Well, awesome, man. Well, thank you for joining us. I know you got a show that starts in about 10 minutes, so I
Yep.
don't necessarily want to keep you, but I'd be happy to have you on as long as you'll stay. But yeah, thanks, man. It's I'm always interested to know what's happening at these shows. I only go to they only call me in for the big ones, so they only call me in for one, and I don't know. Maybe that's saying something because they can't tolerate me at other ones, but that's all good. We
We'll
have
see you
other.
at NAB New York.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
sure.
Yeah, I think I'll be there. Although now we have a lot of U.S. presence. I was there because I was the only U.S. employee at the time, and I don't even know. Yeah, Don was with us, I guess, but he wasn't at that show. He was at another. He was at a different show. So, yeah, I mean, times have changed where we did that show, and we've got so many like deep based US guys that have deep knowledge of the market that don't know if the support guy will be needed. But anyway, a support guy would be needed.
You're always needed, John.
We'll see. We'll
We
see what
need you.
happens. We'll see what happens. If not just to hang out for a couple of days. But yeah,
Right.
what is that? That's October?
Yeah, I think early October.
Okay.
We got a few in October coming up, so yeah,
Oh, really?
got to do some juggling.
I was gonna say let me look through this here real quick. NAB New York. NAB registration's open. NAB New York, October 19th and 20th. It's 2 days. That's
Yep.
short, isn't it? Isn't it? Wasn't it longer than that? I thought it was 3 days in the past.
I don't remember. It's been about 4 years since I went to that over at the Javits Center, right?
Yeah. Yep. The Javits Center. The massive in New York. Is it weird to you that in New York the Javits Center is like a massive waste of upper space? It's like
Absolutely.
6 floors of glass.
Yeah.
Like I get it. It's somebody
over
designed
function.
it. Yeah, exactly. But I walked in, I was just like, wow, there's a lot of like unused ceiling space going on up here.
It's essentially an airport.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically a nice terminal. All right, cool. Well, maybe we'll run into you in New York if they have me come on out, and we'll go from there. Cool,
Absolutely.
man.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm going to prepare for some demos, and
good luck. Thanks for jumping on.
Thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate you. Take care of yourself.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye. And speaking of back, the stream villain has returned. What is going on, buddy?
There we go. I thought my camera was super zoomed in. Hey, everybody.
No. You're all good. I just had to. So this is the BirdDogJohn.tv streamer 2.0.
Oh no, it is not.
He has now taken over the airwaves and will be your regular scheduled program. Did you catch Thursday's show? Because Stream Villain did it for us. It was amazing.
My gosh, you're making so many promises that we have not talked about.
You need to go back and watch Thursday's show because from what I've seen, it was spectacular.
Yeah, we drank a horrible energy drink and had some pickle chips.
Well, welcome to my life. I actually only have coffee in here today. I scrambled in here to get things started because, good golly, I had a few emails overnight. And
well, yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah, it was a doozy. So, okay, wait, we need to get to some of this chat stuff before you and I get into stuff. Okay,
No,
so
you're fine.
Jumping back to the beginning, wheelhouse is a place on the ship where the guy steers the ship, but I don't know how the phrase "not in my wheelhouse" came about. That's an interesting point. We maybe need to Google that one. Okay, Webb had a question, an actual bird dog question, which we need to address. So I have a question. Current firmware for Flex 4K in is BirdDog Flex 187 LTS. On Saturday, we took delivery of a used unit. Something was just thrown at me. Oh yes! Today we're trying Pocky. Brought to you by
Pocky.
Yeah. Well, I've never tried this, but evidently
so
I need to try this. So we'll get this open in a few minutes. Okay. So on Saturday we took delivery of a used unit that we bought that has what seems to be an unreleased firmware 189. What are your thoughts, Clay? What are your thoughts?
Well, I can say if you ever see something like this, you can always open a ticket with us one. But the best answer that can come from us is we are rapidly changing and moving and updating and taking feedback from people, which pushes those updates. So what was brand new earlier this morning might be old by 5 o'clock today. And that's just the nature of our industry. It's the nature of most industries, but especially us. I mean, we are still, we're still growing and we're still learning and we're figuring things out. And so if you ever see something like this and you want access to a certain firmware that you don't find in a public space, it may be in a beta form, and maybe the previous owner was okay having a beta form on their device, and you don't want that, or we can let you know why it's in beta and whether or not you have to worry about whether or not it's in beta. There's a lot of different things that go into this, but ultimately, if you're unsure or you're concerned, you can come on the show here or open a tick with us. I can tell you that there's plenty of folks that I've worked with that are running 189. I haven't had any major pushback or issues reported, but John, I don't know if you're aware of anything on 189 that's at large.
And the 187 firmware that's on the website is there was basically an LED indicator light problem that was fixed with 187. That's what it was. So then there were 2 updates since then. So the 189, which is a beta, is an incremental update. It's not a major change in any regard, but there was an EDID audio channel problem that was corrected, which ended up being 188. And then 189 is just a refresh and reset API call command that had to be added. So it is a very small change from the one that's on the website. So 189 should work just fine, as expected. But it is technically a pre-release beta, but we are sending that to people who want to try it to see if, their issues are resolved, because the incremental updates are basically a customer reports a problem, like the EDID audio channel flip. They report the issue, they find it, and they just do a quick little incremental thing and send it over to us, or the engineers will send it directly to the customer and say, hey, give this a try. In particular, our QA guy in Poland will get the engineers to make a change. They'll send it to him. He'll verify it. He'll write the release notes and then send it to the customer. And so that's how those progress. And so if you see 187, but then you get a product that's 189 on it, you can buy the first thing is email us at help@birddog.tv, or come on the show and just ask, just like Webb did. And we can tell you what the change is, because we have the release notes for all of those, and we can include that. So all good. And you should be fine to use 189 unless you want to just go back to the website. It won't, you probably will not notice a difference, but there are 2 fixes that you're receiving in that beta. So we're jump over Kevin. I get about 18 miles on my Crown Vic. Nice.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have to drive very much. Yeah, that's kind of like my V8. That's a doozy of gas price. So
geez, Crown Vics only get 18. Oh man,
I need to start tracking my miles. 62.5 cents a gallon is the federal expectation for mileage. And yes, you definitely should be tracking your miles if you're driving for work. Hey, what did I miss? What's going on, Jeremy? Are you talking about your trip to Alaska? I can. I didn't necessarily want to bore everybody with that, but I am back from Alaska. That's where I was. And the gracious Clayton took over for me on Thursday to keep you all entertained with snacks on stream. So good times. Hey, next time, drink the pickled chips and eat the energy drink.
honestly, the energy drink was so horrible. I'd probably try to drink the pickle chips next time instead of drinking it again. Like it was one of the worst energy drinks. I think it was the worst energy drink I've ever had.
I haven't gotten to that part in the stream yet where you drank that and you really disliked it. And so I'm only used to you drinking Monsters, which you really enjoy.
I do.
So
yeah, it was just so unbelievably artificial. And that says something, because
it is artificial.
Nothing about Monster is organic. Like it's all made in a lab, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so like it was rough. It was very rough.
Well, I am sad that I missed the live production, but we keep them, and it's on my YouTube channel. So there you go. If you are interested, I'm going to get rid of this cable because it's in the way. If you're interested, you can always go back and watch Thursday's show because Clayton handled it masterfully. He's actually not new to streaming. And so I had no problem giving over the reins. It
That's
was
true.
the NDI stuff that he wasn't sure what was going to come up. So
Yeah.
And we never do. I never know what you guys are going to say or ask about, and so we just kind of wing it and offer us some live support in real time. So that's one of the advantages you get for free when you purchase a BirdDog product. All right, great outdoor. Sound like an infomercial on here.
You do.
Setting up 3 new P120 cameras and my 4250 for a community access TV station in Bridgeton, Maine. Going great. Love the IP address display. So does Clay.
So do I. Yay. I know. Dude, it's so nice. I'm so glad that we've implemented it. I think it's a wonderful feature. I love it. I think it's absolutely great. I think it's a great quality of life introduction to customers. That there's no downside to having it available. It's just a wonderful addition. I love it. I'm so glad that you love the IP display. That makes me happy.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'm a nerd for it.
It makes life so much easier when you can literally see what the IP address has been acquired. Because even if you set it as static, as you shouldn't, even if you did, then it would tell you what it is, and then you'd be, oh, it's not on my subnet. I can just change my IP on my computer. That makes way more sense, especially supporting the cameras. Like my guys love it because we can just look at the camera and tell us what the IP address is. It saves us a lot of guesswork and pinging networks and reboot the camera 10 times. That's all good. Hey, thanks for the thoughtful and detailed answer. You are welcome. That's what you come here for, Webb. I'm sorry it took so long to get to it, but we will get to it eventually, and there you go. Last week I got banned for saying posterior when referring to the P100 backside. Wait, what?
Yeah, bot banned him.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the bot was like, you can't talk about butts.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, be careful, little tongue, what you say. That's
so funny.
That will get you banned. So video out of the box looks even better than the P200s that I have in Florida. Really? That is interesting. We should talk about how you're setting up your P200s. No, I'm kidding. That's great. I'm glad you're enjoying that setup, and that's good. Hey, what's going on, Pandorica? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Another one for you. Sometimes NDI converters cannot be placed in such a way that the tally light is visible for the talent and or the camera operator. In these moments, having the camera's built-in tally light in operation would be the best scenario. Having said that, have you heard of a way to convert the NDI tally flag to something that can be sent out of the SDI or HDMI port to the camera so that its built-in tally can be activated? No.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know of anything.
The tally, so a couple of things here. So the tally light information, first off, at the root, is sent through the metadata NDI channel on all of our devices, but in the cameras specifically. So when you send the tally information, it's going through the NDI metadata, and on board the camera to light up the lights, we're reading a separate NDI channel than the NDI video. So out of every NDI chip, you're going to get the NDI video, full quality. Then you're going to get the NDI proxy stream. That's a separate NDI stream. Then you're going to get a separate metadata stream as well. And then you're going to get a separate comms channel for BirdDog devices that work with BirdDog.com. So potentially 4 different NDI streams, maybe more. There may be an audio element in there as well, but I'm not 100% clear on that one, how that's integrated specifically. But the metadata channel is separate from the video channel, so they act independently. So you're not going to see the tally light out the SDI port or HDMI. In addition to this conversation, the HDMI and SDI video come directly off the lens to the baseboard, whereas that video information is then sent to the NDI chip for encoding and then sent out. So the NDI chip is reading the metadata. It's also encoding the video and sending that out, from the NIC card. But it happens after the video goes out the SDI and HDMI ports. So if you're trying to get the tally information out the HDMI and SDI ports, that actually isn't possible because that information happens on a different level than the video going out the HDMI SDI port. So that was a lengthy, long in the tooth answer, but that's why it is the way that it is because the NDI information is happening on this level, and the video that goes out the HDMI and SDI is happening on the baseboard level. So it goes from lens to baseboard to NDI chip. The tally information is in the NDI chip level, and it doesn't go back. It doesn't talk back to the baseboard. It's a one-way street.
I understand the question though. I get the desire.
Yeah, we used to we were toying around on Studio. This guy right here, rest in peace. We were toying around with the idea of being able to send out a tally voltage, basically 5 volts, out of a tally port that's on this. So you could get a proprietary, I think it's 3.5 millimeter jack that basically would just turn on or turn off a tally light. And guys were making them themselves and buying tally lights and trying to hotwire them and whatever. We didn't really have a lot of traction, which is why we never really came out with like a BirdDog tally accessory for Studio, because the demand just wasn't there at the time when we were generating it. But technically, when the tally light turned on, okay, so the screen on the Studio would turn red, it would also activate 5 volts on this port. And so you could add a little 5-volt light that you could stick on top of the camera that you were using this on. So then you could have the tally light facing the camera operator from the Studio and have another tally light facing the talent on the front of the camera. Again, it never really took off, and we ended up integrating tally into our new product lines. Unfortunately, this isn't a 365 tally, which I wish it was. Wish there was like a halo ring or something, which is then where Flex got its idea of doing that kind of that Amazon Echo, ring on the unit, so you could see it on the front and the back. So, anyways, I get it. It also requires that the BirdDog unit be in eyesight of the talent or the camera operator, which again, as Webb states, isn't necessarily always possible. So I totally understand why. It's just kind of that's kind of the challenges where we've been for the last 3 years, inventing this stuff. It sounds like you want an external tally light for your camcorders running through flex converters. Something like the Data Video TD3/5. It's time to head over to Google.
I was about to say, I've been looking at it for the last couple of minutes while you were talking. It's a pretty nifty little device.
Data Video TD-3/5.
Yeah.
Toss this up. Oh yeah, I've seen this. I haven't seen it in action, but it's kind of an interesting idea. Let's throw this up here. For $100, what's the voltage on it? Like, what's required to make it work? Or is it an independent thing? Whoops-a-daisy. Add this to stream. Boom. So, LED tally light for intercom?
All right, that's right. Look, okay, everybody makes mistakes.
Whatever, it's all good. So
Nobody's
stereo
perfect.
3.5. Yeah, I think this is kind of what we're talking about. But what's the voltage? Is it 5? Is it 5 volts? Because if it is, then in theory it should work on Studio. Mini didn't have a tally port. And we flirted with the idea of figuring out a way that you could convert the headphone jack to do it, but like that has its own ramifications and what have you. And then I don't have a Flex unit in here. So anyways, and then Flex I do not believe has one. So anyways, this is cool. Yeah, it does sound like that's kind of what you need. You can also buy ones that you can trigger other ways, so you can just run a really lightweight cable and trigger it different ways. But there you go. That's maybe what you're looking at. Yoink. What else we got here? Sounds like, hey, Clay is channeling his inner Miley Cyrus.
What? Why?
Brayton's gonna have to explain it. He's talking out in the lobby right now. I can hear him. So
I don't understand. And then look, Balu says my brain just went straight to that. What did I do?
I don't know. I missed it too. So I'm
well, okay. Maybe I shouldn't be offended. Miley Cyrus has so many different eras of persona. Like Everybody makes mistakes. Hannah Montana. Okay, see, Hannah Montana, that was after my time. I never saw Hannah Montana. I've never heard Hannah Montana. I don't know.
You did.
I don't know a single song by Hannah Montana, but I do know songs by Miley Cyrus. Party in the USA, you know, that whole thing. But I don't know Hannah Montana. That's completely.
I love how we're talking about this like she has multiple personalities. I think
she does. Have you ever watched her career?
Yes, I have watched her career.
She's crazy.
Actually, I try to avoid watching her career, but it is a wrecking ball. Oh,
hey, oh,
no shame. Okay, back to something serious. So the data video has no way to talk to NDI. It's the same situation. Yeah, it's potentially a manual solution. I think that there's a way to do this manually, but with this,
yeah, that was actually my question though. Was you mentioned the tally being on the NDI level? I mean, this doesn't really solve that, right?
Yeah.
So.
No.
Is there any way to get tally communicating at the non-NDI level though? Like, and that's what you're talking about with the studio having a dedicated tally port. Is that the idea?
Yeah, that was the idea, is because they wanted to be able to integrate like a third-party 5-volt powered. Now, the problem became that we offered 5 volts at the tally port, but no tally light ran at 5 volts. They all ran at like 15. So with the invention of the LED light, I'm sure that's all changing quickly. But yeah, it was a very low power option. And then we had guys that were like splicing cables and pretty sure creating fire hazards in their studio. So we didn't pursue that. And there wasn't a huge it was way easier to integrate, you know, LED lights on the front of a device and just light it up and you choose which way to face it. But tally has always been one of those where it's either too much or not enough, right? So I heard a complaint about the P4K, and they're like, the lights on, they're just like too bright and too much, and it's like we have to cover them up with gaff tape, and I'm like, man, you can't win. Like you can't, like if it's, you know, the P200, they're like, tally light's not big enough. The P4K, they're like, tally light's too big. It's too, and it's like, well, you know, okay, we're just gonna have to accept that we're not gonna make everybody happy, I guess. So
nobody ever will. I mean, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you work, somebody isn't gonna like the thing.
Yeah.
And so what matters is how we react to them not liking it, whether or not it aligns with what our goals are.
Right.
And so it's just impossible to do everything.
And again, it's like, okay, well, we, you know, we'll do what we can here, but there's you know, not everyone's going to be happy with the solution. So we'll try and hit the most, you know, hit the biggest market we can and hope for the best.
Hey, real fast, I need to address this. I'm not saying that you guys should feel shame for watching and listening to Hannah Montana. There are plenty of things that I watch and listen to that other people would find embarrassing. I'm not trying to shame y'all for liking Hannah Montana. I'm just saying I don't know Hannah Montana. Okay? That's all I'm saying. No judgment, no judges. I have the entire rap from Vanilla Ice in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie memorized. Okay?
Nice.
We all have our passions.
Yeah, passions. That's what we're going to call it. We all have our things that we shouldn't be talking about on a live stream. I love how Balu, she gives you the best of both worlds. No shame. Let's hear it. They want.
No, I'm not doing the rap on live stream. That's not happening.
NetHab, again, a real question. So what would you plug that light converter into? So I think the idea that Data Video has like a tally system or something like that. But again, it's not triggered via NDI. So like there is no BirdDog solution for this idea.
Wait, he's saying that you would plug that light into the converter though. You would plug that light into the converter.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Is it the little nubbin light that you saw?
Yeah, that little let me pull that up here while I put the studio monitor in front. Okay, so here. So yoink back to this. Yeah, so this has a little GPI cable or GPO cable or whatever we're going to call it, GPI cable, which is a stereo 3.5. It's a 3-pin. I think ours is just like a single 1-pin because it's just on or off. So I don't know if that would screw things up. But yeah, in theory, you'd plug the cable into there,
I see.
Strap this onto the camera or wherever you want it, and then plug the other side into the Studio, may she rest in peace. So the problem is that none of our devices have that tally unit other than the Studio. And so if you can find Studios, great. But I don't, that feature is exclusive to Studio. So curious to hear, like, there are tally intercom systems from Data Video, which include these little nubbin lights, which then would light up when you're using the intercom, but not when you're using the, obviously the tally system. So I don't know. I don't know if this unit would work with the Studio. In theory, if it's under 5 volts, maybe we can look at the specs and see what the requirements are. Oh, that's terrible. But it's $100, so it might be worth trying it out and see if that's, oh my gosh, this is not cool. Downloads. Let's see what the manual says, because when in doubt. Bueller. Okay, here we go. So PDF. Let's take a quick look. Disposal. Okay. Definitions connecting with this system. There's not really much in here.
That's a thin table of contents.
Yeah. Let's just take a little look.
I mean, if it's a simple device, it doesn't need to be thick, but
yeah. And maybe here, 12 volts. Now that's just standard, but so it may not be, the Studio may not be strong enough to supply it, because the Studio runs just PoE, and so it's already running at like 6 watts or something like that. And so it would have to draw enough power then to run the little tally light. But maybe we should buy one and test it. Again, the Studio, now that it's EOL, and we don't have it on our other products, maybe that could be the advocacy for actually having it on a product. But yeah, the new ones do not. So now, if you have an entire fleet of Studios, perhaps that's what you want to do. But yeah, it seems to be a solution for a previous product line. Okay, so I need to do this before the party gets too much further. So we get
Pocky, dude.
We got a little Pocky, and I have been putting this off for an age.
Oh, I'm so excited for you.
Balu bought this a while ago.
So
thankfully, it's sealed, so you can actually. There's a lot of them in here.
John, one thing to. I know that you and I are both, I think, similar in this. Well, no, you're not really a coffee. All right, you're a coffee guy. You're not really a coffee purist because you put like cream in it and stuff. And I don't mean that in like an insulting way. I'm just saying, you adjust your coffee incorrectly by ruining it with cream. Pocky's actually really good to eat like next to coffee, because it, especially if you drink black coffee, because it's like a biscuit and it's light. Just have a couple of them with a cup of coffee. It's a lovely little treat. Love Pocky. Okay. It's great.
That's good to know. I've heard good things. I know Balu is a big fan, and so he is encouraging me to go down this path. Perhaps it will spark some sort of addiction, and I won't be able to stop. But anyway,
I don't think it's going to spark addiction. I think that you're going to realize that it's just it's a satisfying, simple little treat.
Is it like a cookie inner and then?
Yeah, like it's basically a mildly sweet biscuit in the shape of a stick.
Yeah.
Or I say biscuit like I'm from the UK. It's cookie.
Okay.
Dipped in chocolate.
All right. That seems like a very simple concept to be. Maybe they're making a fortune off of like. Can you believe people buy these things?
Dude, I just saw Frank Think's message. One package equals one serving.
Yeah, on here it says servings per container 2.5 or 15 pieces. I was like, 15 pieces, but the whole box is 340 calories. I was like, well, that's not too bad, I guess.
Yeah, nobody's eating 2.5 Pocky.
Isn't there a Brian Regan joke about how many of the serving size of Fig Newtons is 2 cookies?
Yeah.
He's like, 2 cookies? Yeah. Don't you mean 2 sleeves?
Yeah, dude.
So I eat those things like a wood chipper.
Yeah, have you ever eaten 2 of any snack?
Yeah, no, really haven't.
No, never.
Okay, so I'd like to share with you what convinced us to start converting our 3 studios to NDI. Large studio has been using a Blackmagic design Decklink quad HDMI for capture, which is fine. Before going all in, we bought a BirdDog Studio NDI and connected it to one of our studio cameras. The difference in quality was so remarkably better. I want you to hear that again. It was so remarkably better that we decided then and there that we wanted to go full NDI with BirdDog. That is an amazing testimony. Thank you, Webb. That's awesome.
You said that so aggressively. I want you to hear that again.
It was a great little story. I knew it wasn't gonna be like some sort of negative review. So
no, honestly, thanks for letting us know that.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff that we need to hear, like what is and isn't working. But it's great to hear when things are working and support. More often than not, we're only dealing with problems, and that's our job. Like no complaint.
It is our job.
It's what we get paid to do.
Yep.
But whenever anybody has something great to say about the company, about our products, about BirdDog in general, that's always wonderful to hear. So I'm glad that you're happy. I hope you stick around. And if you do run into problems down the line, recently our owner, Dan, in one of his posts reminded everybody that we're human too. So please don't expect perfection down the line, but do expect support. So if you need help and you run into an issue, please let us know. But I'm really happy that you're happy. I'm happy that things have worked out and that we are so, what was it? Remarkably better in all caps, John.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It's pretty great. Thank you.
I approve this message. It's only been there for about a week. He's referring to the Pocky, by the way. I thought these were here a lot longer than that. Hey, Pocky, those are amazing. I'm about to find out. I've never had them. So Jeremy says they're amazing. He's the guy that converted me to Ember mugs. So he's
oh no, Jeremy.
But they're too small to really enjoy them. That's a shame. That's why Frank says that the whole package is a single serving. Maybe you're supposed to eat like 6 or 7 of them like together. You like hold them together.
Oh, like a bundle?
Yeah, a bundle of Pocky.
A bundle of Pocky. All right, okay.
It's
all
a
no more
nip stick of carbs. Sorry, go ahead.
No more stalling. Take a bite of the.
Okay, here we go.
Pocky.
Ready? I'm gonna give this a go.
Wants to know what you think.
Do they really, or is it just an excuse for me to eat while I'm streaming? I haven't quite figured it out yet. Oh, yeah. All right. You're right. They're very small to actually genuinely enjoy. I like the chocolate to cookie ratio.
Right. That's what I think is great about them. And again, like I think Pocky work best when they're paired with something more bitter, like coffee. Like, right. Like that's why it's the same idea with a biscotti. Right. Is it a biscotti? Is that what I'm thinking of? The biscuit that people dip into actual coffee. Yeah. It's similar to that for me in that you drink something like a coffee in the morning, but you want something sweet that isn't a full on, 3 donuts. But you want it to feel, deliciously sugary. It's just such a wonderful little cheat snack. I love it.
So here's the thing is I really enjoy, these are really good. I really enjoy them. However, you get to the end and you eat the thing you were holding on to, and that seems wrong. Especially like post-COVID. It just seems like I shouldn't be eating the piece that I was holding on to. And then there's no chocolate on the end either, which makes sense. But it's just kind of like a little at the end.
Well, that's when you just snap it in half and then you just shove the whole thing in your mouth. And you don't even know which part is which.
Well, or we could do this and like space it out a little bit. So you do chocolate or you do 2 sticks. I'm like, let's space this out. See how that's better. Yeah, that's more sustainable for long-term snacking.
So you're like me with Oreos. People always look at me really weird because I actually pull the Oreo. I pull the Oreo apart. Yeah. And I eat the cream off of just like one of the cookies, and then I put it back so that there's still some cream in the middle because I don't like that much cream as I'm eating the cookie. And people think I'm really weird for doing that.
It's quite good. Where's the air horn for Frank thinks? Yeah, so first time viewer. However, I haven't figured out how to get the stinking air horn to play because it's an audio capture and the StreamYard doesn't do audio capture. It only does one microphone, so it's real lame. I'm really sorry about that. That's what it's supposed to do. There you go, Frank. That's for you.
Cool.
Yeah, and Bali was very excited about us trying out Pocky today. So, yeah, big fan. That's delicious. I'm going to eat a whole lot more of those. Hey, fellas, you're a great way to stall a delayed.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Do.
Always good to have some humans on the show with us as well. Hey, we are human after all.
Everybody's really concerned about having chocolate on their fingers.
Yeah, I'm good.
You get chocolate on your fingers, John.
Do I wear?
But then you have choco on your hands.
Okay.
That's it. People don't like your method.
Well,
that's all.
It's the only way that I can handle eating those unchocolate sticks at the end. Like a barbarian.
Oh, man. Oh.
We now have about 12 BirdDog converters. This is the end of the testimony from Webb. 12 BirdDog converters, an assortment of studio NDIs, Flex 4Ks, and 4 units. You have a gambit of converters for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
You're
awesome.
sort of it's a pretty diverse setup.
Yeah. You need a handful of Pocky to make it worth it. Agreed. If you aren't supposed to eat them all, they put them in a resealable bag. Yes, I like the way you think about that. That's great.
But they do put it in a box that you can
barely. No, wait, it says open, so you destroy the top of the box. So you can't even reseal the box. Look.
Oh.
Yeah, that's done.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't put it back in the cupboard because the bag
why is it like that? Why is the box like that? That doesn't what?
Here's the thing is I think they've made advances in technology and all sorts of things over the ages, but they still haven't figured out how to do a resealable cardboard box. Have you ever eaten a large box of like Sweet Tarts or Nerds and you get that little cardboard flap that they expect you to tear along the perforated lines and then reuse while you eat them? It's like, no, I'm sorry, I have to eat this whole box now because
dude, I remember, this is gonna sound so gross, but when you're a little kid and you're not paying attention as much, I remember how like soggy that cardboard flap got on those Nerd boxes because you're just going to town on the Nerds. You're not thinking about the cardboard. You don't care. You're a little kid. It's so gross.
Nope.
But Nerds, S tier candy. I'll say it forever. S tier candy. Love Nerds.
Yeah, it is
so great.
The thing about Nerds is I can't eat them because I can't afford the dental bills that come after.
Yeah, I don't eat them very often because it's literally pure sugar. Like it's I like most candies pure sugar, but Nerds are like
they're literally sugar crystals covered in a color. That's all they are. They're not anything else.
But I love them. Gosh, I love them. Love them so much.
Pocky is a reverse drumstick. Ooh, that's a good way to think about it. I agree. So here, you need better audio interface with the audio effects built in.
Oh, somebody dissing John on his audio.
And it's Jeremy too. And I thought you had a Rodecaster Pro. No, I have a Euphoria UMC 404 HD HD, which is just straight up interface.
This is my favorite moment that's ever happened on the show.
I definitely could get an audio out back into this, which would then integrate the effects. That's that's possible, I guess. That's a good idea. Yeah, I have to think about that.
I just love that just openly someone insulted your audio.
Yeah, it's all good.
John.
You need a better audio interface. Evidently, the microphone's fine, but the interface is lacking. Yeah. Which for the Behringer line of USB interfaces, I agree. It's a pretty basic interface. However, I still like it. Nerds or Pop Rocks?
Ooh, Nerds or Pop Rocks. Nerds have a much better flavor for me. And I think that if you want to taste a really sweet, ridiculous, over the top candy as an adult, I think Nerds hits a little differently than most. But Pop Rocks are like a nice experience, right? Like,
Pop Rocks is like, that takes me back.
Here's the thing about Pop Rocks, and I don't know if I'm the only one like this. I don't think I've ever eaten Pop Rocks alone. Pop Rocks have always been a social experience for me because you eat Pop Rocks, your friends eating Pop Rocks, you're like, man, this is crazy. You know, and you're like,
I did not think that that is what you were going to say. That's hilarious.
but it's true. I've never had Pop Rocks just like at my
Pop
house.
Rocks is
Let
a
me eat.
social experience.
I do. I think that, like, am I wrong? Is anybody watching this ever been at their house watching TV? Nobody else is there, and you're like, I'm gonna eat Pop Rocks. Like,
Or is anybody willing to admit that they've eaten Pop Rocks alone? Because
maybe that's the better question.
here's my beef with Pop Rocks is I eat them and then they always explode next to my teeth, and then I'm like, oh shoot, or like it's like a little piece of dynamite blew up next to my crown. So I gotta go in and have them checked out. At least with nerds, you can work those down if you need to. They're not gonna explode on you.
Every time I've had Pop Rocks, the same thing happens. People each have their own little bag. They start eating them, and then what happens? They stick their tongue out, and we all listen for the pop and crackle, and then we start laughing, and then people are like, "Ooh, it popped! Ooh, ooh, ooh!" And like that's the whole reason you eat Pop Rocks is for the journey of the Pop Rocks.
That's right.
You know,
it is the journey. You're right.
And then also, like, is Pop Rocks or is it Mentos that you put
Mentos
and pop and Coke?
Yeah, it's Mentos. Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa, the chat is moving along. Apparently, I need to have you on more often. You're supposed to share the happiness, not put it back in the cupboard. We're referring to Pocky here, and there won't be any to share after I'm done. Is it a gamble or a gaggle of bird dogs?
Tyranny. It's tyranny, the Pocky.
Because who doesn't eat the whole box? It's true. It seems like they put on here the serving size as a bit of a joke. Serving size 15 pieces. But
2.5 made me laugh too.
Yeah.
What? You break a Pocky in half, or like you eat the top half and save the second half for later?
Yeah. Daniel. Oh, an actual NDI question.
Oh,
First, if you guys have any documentation that you recommend for getting the Office network good, we'll say up to par for NDI. Can solidly decode PowerPoint slides. Yeah. That's like 0 frames a second, but videos can hitch up at times. Okay, so yes, we can talk about that briefly, but it really does depend on what's going on the network, and it depends on what sort of horsepower you have moving stuff across that Office network. So if you are we're going to talk about switches and that sort of thing, but at the very least, if you're doing video from point A to point B across the network, you should probably on a shared switch that's doing like VoIP phones or computer data or things like that, should probably consider a VLAN for your NDI sources, just so that the packets don't bump into each other. They can literally, you can set precedence, for example, or you can set priority for the NDI VLAN. And that way the computer data, like the emails and that crap, can take a backseat, which it can afford to do because it doesn't have to be instantaneous. And you can set the VLAN up for the NDI stuff. That's instantaneous, always gets priority. That might help. Obviously, in a perfect world, you'd separate those sources onto a different switch, preferably a 4250. But I digress. So I'd recommend at the very least, try and separate the traffic. So you have a PowerPoint source, or you have a source that's being converted into NDI and then being sent across a building. Definitely get it on a different VLAN. So that will add VLAN tags to all the other data, probably VLAN tag 1. And then it would add a specific VLAN tag for the NDI data. And those tags, if a packet has a VLAN tag on it that's different than the one that it's allowed to read, it will ignore it. And then the switch will do the prioritization. So that's probably the quickest and fastest way to get that traffic a little more stable. But, you can only get so much blood from a stone. So if the switch is really not designed for real-time video type of expectations, then you may have to have a different conversation.
And honestly, Daniel, if you want to kind of dive deeper, you want us to dive deeper, open a ticket. This is a very common question that we answer. We do have actual documentation that we can share, some attachments along with some what we consider to be pretty key settings to look out for, some pretty key things to look for in terms of, especially on the switch side. Switches can have just a plethora of ways that it affects everything that's happening, and turning some of that stuff off that you may not have ever thought to turn off can make all the difference in the world. I can tell you video hitching is very common, and it's pretty commonly solved. What can get really, really difficult is when it's not just hitching, but we're talking about actual freezing, like locking up, the actual video not being clear, artifacting. So if you're getting hitching, probably a problem that you can solve relatively easily, but we just need to know more information before we can help you figure it out.
Agreed. That's exactly right. I have a super cheap audio interface that has 3 something for effects. Awesome.
I was like, well, John knows everything, so I don't know what Pons is.
Which interface is that, Jeremy? Is that one of the ones really that funny. You suggested up here?
You just paused on Pons.
There's probably some acronym I'm supposed to know, but evidently that one passed me. You can't see the mouth glow from the Pop Rocks by yourself. Confirmed. I've never done Pop Rocks alone ever. Why are we referring to Pop Rocks like it's some sort of drug I've never done?
I've never. I promise. I promise, Mom. I've never done it. I swear.
Don't do Pop Rocks. I swear.
I don't do.
I only stick to the hard stuff.
That's really funny.
Pandora, I'm definitely going to name this episode Pop Rocks is a social experience.
It is.
Every pouch is shared. I mean, absolutely.
Here,
I guess.
Here, you have some.
Yeah, right.
What flavor do you have? Pop Rocks flavor. What do you mean?
The exploding crystals in your mouth flavor. That's what I have. The last time that I was in elementary school, we did exactly what Clay described. The last time you were in elementary, like graduation day.
Last time he had them.
Last time I had them. Oh, all right. I misread. I need to do better about that.
Don't jump over words, John.
I know, but also we did put them in Coke. And
so
that was an experience.
Is there a reaction when you put Pop Rock?
I'm sure there is.
Pop Rocks in a Coke.
It's got to be Sprite.
I like that we're focusing on
or Mountain Dew,
the important stuff first of all.
Yeah. This chat is popping off. Yeah, see what he did there? It's true. We struck a chord with the chat. So. Apparently, we've all had positive Pop Rock experiences.
Oh, real question.
Where do you see NDI going with audio? Will there be an audio only NDI converter? Would something like that solve a sync issue between NDI video and say audio coming in from a USB audio adapter? Okay. Here's the thing. To finish my Pocky. Okay. Here's the thing about audio. There's a lot going on when we talk about like synchronization with audio and video, because obviously the two go hand in hand. If my audio is super delayed, but my video is way ahead, it's distracting and it's terrible to watch a video, especially from a professional source, like way more professional than us, that has that issue, because it's like unsettling to hear the voice and then see the reaction on screen, or vice versa. And anyone can pick that up. It's not just like something that a few people will notice. Everyone will notice that. So there becomes this delicate dance when you're talking about encoding really fast and then lining up audio and adding audio to a video source becomes even more complicated, because who knows if it's lined up when it gets to the port, right? So you have a microphone that goes into a audio interface to provide phantom power. It comes out of there, it goes into the camera, and then it's going over NDI and back to back to your video switcher, TriCast, or whatever you're using. The issue becomes, how do you sync it up, and how do you guarantee that it is definitely lined up? Traditionally, video switchers, even basic ones like OBS, will allow you to offset audio so that you can line it up in post. So the primary, when it comes to producing things and actually making videos, the primary concern should be about quality, not about timing. However, people don't get that deep, and regularly there are folks that do not have the ability nor the desire to sit around and figure out how many milliseconds their audio is off. So, and again, it may not even be they don't care about it; they may not know how to do it, and that's so. People say, "Oh, well, then I plug in my audio to the camera. Now I get latency on the audio." But it's correct otherwise. It's like, well, what does that mean? Like, what other devices are you using? What microphones are you using? How is that being transmitted? There is latency when you convert something from one format to another. You're going to introduce latency regardless of how good the process is. There is no zero latency conversion because it takes time, literally milliseconds, but it does take time to do those things. So will there be an NDI audio converter eventually? I don't see it on the horizon. If there was a market for it, perhaps. We don't get many. I mean, I don't hear many requests for that. But the desire for higher quality to converted NDI is out there, and the desire to merge it with sources is still pretty commonly used. My recommendation from a support perspective, but also from a production side, is never convert a source until you absolutely have to. So if you can get the raw feed from something directly into the thing that you're using to broadcast, do that. If you're bringing in remote sources from around an auditorium and you want to convert it over NDI, absolutely. It's a versatile way to do that. You do introduce small amounts of latency with BirdDog and large amounts of latency with everyone else. So you can go ahead and do that. And that's fine. The smaller the latency, the better, because it requires less work in post-production, but it also, if you're live streaming, it provides less finesse, we'll say. But never compress or add a source and convert it unless you absolutely have to. And that is the biggest deal with audio, because the audio source, when you start compressing audio, you start losing data really fast. And so we do our best to do very little compression, which again is why we have such a large bandwidth requirements. But the overall, if you can avoid it and bring it back to your source independently, and most production suites will have a way to plug into a DI box or something like that and get it back basically raw. I would much rather see you do that and then merge it at the end, line it up there in your production software, and then, or like go to a recorder and then line it up in post, So unless it's absolutely necessary, I don't like adding audio to NDI lines, but that's just me. Sometimes there's no option. So
it looks like Nethab has shared with us a Magewell product that was announced actually, and it is an IP audio converter, the AES67 audio only NDI, which is interesting because I've never had anybody ask about this. But yeah, looking at it.
Yeah. So here's the other thing that's happening behind the scenes is there's a competition between Dante, which is an audio standard in the production world, and all other formats basically. And so we've recently seen like Dante AV converters hit the market, which are video converters to a Dante standard, and it's a direct competition for NDI. And so that's what they're trying to do. Now, BirdDog a while ago announced that we were going to integrate with Dante and convert to Dante with our hardware. That announcement was a long time ago. I'm not spilling any company secrets. However, since that announcement, Dante has come out with their own line of AV converters, which now you can see the conflict of interest as to why that might not be a profitable business tactic. So there's all this like what's going to happen in the industry. I assume that we will see some of these audio converters come out because there are campuses that are converting to NDI exclusively and don't want to introduce Dante. And so that's, it's another AV protocol. But then there are these kind of like cross sections. Now there's almost like competition directly with Dante Audinate because, here we go. We've got converted audio and now video converters that use a Dante proprietary protocol, which is basically a direct competition for NDI. So that's awkward. But that's reality. I mean, and competition makes for good products. I mean, it makes us sharper. It makes us have to do it better. All that sort of stuff.
Competition means the consumer wins
Yeah,
every time.
absolutely. And quite frankly, anything that makes us perform better is better for us because we will have to be better. So is the VLAN just for the NDI sources or the computers that make them? If the first, how would I tell someone to set that up? Well, so the VLAN would be just for your NDI sources. Anything that is converted to VLAN or anything that's converted to NDI would need to be on that VLAN. The way you would set that up, if you have a network admin or something like that, you could just say, could I have, depending on how many devices you have, but could I have like 4 ports on every switch? That's a separate VLAN for my video protocol. And what they normally do is they set up a profile on one switch. Like say you have 20 switches in the office. This may be an extreme example. You have 20 switches in the office. You have a switch profile. And in that profile, you have 20 ports that are all data, and then you've got 4 ports that are something else. So, it could be phones, it could be printers, it could be whatever. In this instance, you'd have 4 ports on every switch in the office. Let's say ports 21 through 24 that are your NDI ports. And so anywhere you go in the office, those 4 ports on every switch are your NDI profile. And that just makes it super easy for the technical side, because they add that to the profile and they push that to all the switches, and then the switches then carry that profile. Now the catch is those ports need to be open, and so on all switches, or they'll be added to your VLAN. So if you're maxing out all your ports on all the switches, then you get into customizing individual profiles, and that's a fair bit more management. So say I've got 2, or let's say I've got 3 switches. One of them has all the office computers and phones on it. One of them is half used, and it's got some printers and office computers on it. But then there are some open ports on that one, and then I've got a third one that just has 1 or 2 being used. Well, you can fire up the profile on the 2 that have open ports and add, ports 21 through 24 on those 2. You have to do it individually. Put it on there on those 2 as the same VLAN. And then anything that gets that VLAN tag can talk to anything in that VLAN. And then those switches are connected, usually by a trunk. So it's either 1 or 2 Ethernet cables that are trunked together or fiber lines. So depending on how your network guy has designed it, the trunk carries all VLAN packets. Everything goes through the trunk, okay? And you can aggregate those trunks. So you can have like 20 gig trunks between 2 10 gig fibers or something like that. So it can get kind of wild and crazy, but simply you would just allocate certain ports on your switch to be NDI ports. And then on every switch in your office, ports 21 through 24. We have 4 available openings on that switch. That is for my NDI network. And that's how that works. I don't manage our network. All good. Hopefully that's something to go off of. It's a good place to start. Yeah, I'd like to look a little bit more into this Magewell. AES 67 is an audio standard though, right? It's not an NDI standard.
No, but it does have on its product list, offers a seamless bridge between analog audio, software, and IP standards, including AES 67, NDI, SRT, and more.
Yeah.
So it has NDI listed. Well, is it NDI?
It might. It might convert it to an audio channel because we do know how to do that. I don't know if the demand is there for it because everyone's using Dante, and NetHab's exactly right. That is why everyone is so excited about getting Dante on the cameras and converters, because that would have been that is a great idea to have that standard on the camera and the NDI standard for the video.
And it looks like they're mentioning both NDI and HX. I want to know more if HX is going to become, it just can't be this universal name. I need a differentiation between 1, 2, and 3, because in terms of support, it's just different. But they are mentioning Ultra encode, SRT, NDI, HX included. But NDI elsewhere is not mentioning HX. I'm guessing they do both.
So is this the Pro Convert AES 67 unit that we're looking at here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. For those of you who would like to follow along at home, we'll throw this up here so that It's okay. AES 67 is an open version of Dante audio. Almost all Dante can talk AES 67. So ProConvert, a multi-format IP audio converter and capture device, offers a seamless bridge between analog audio, software, and IP standards, including AES 67. So I don't necessarily know if it's a converter to turn it into an NDI channel. Output, yada, yada, yada. Multicast, unicast, 8x8 channel, 24-bit, encoding 1x4 channel to an NDI stream simultaneously. So yeah, I mean, essentially, that's what they're saying is it's an audio. You can bring in audio and convert it to 4-channel, 24-bit audio, NDI.
Man,
which is an interesting idea. Again, I don't. Maybe they threw the NDI thing in there as like a. Doesn't seem to be the highlight of this page.
it's part of a list.
Right.
It's part of a bullet pointed list, but it's not insignificant in the world, especially in the world of Dante. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're Dante, you don't like to see that.
Well, Dante will like AES 67. Dante will read AES 67, so essentially it is a Dante converter. But you couldn't. Well, anyway, interesting. That's an interesting. So here's the other part of this conversation, I guess, is the audio. Like when BirdDog started, they were very interested in encoding video as fast as possible, and the audio stuff just kind of got added on because naturally you'd have audio. But really, we're getting into a place where we're getting a lot of people who need the audio to be as tight as it can be, and so that's a different set of engineers. Like that's a different monkey altogether. So if I think we've got to go down that road because we really got to pay attention to the audio because we can't degrade it at all. But also, and I don't think there is, degradation on the NDI convert, but you still don't like converting my sources until I absolutely have to. That's just kind of a preference of mine, I guess. But anyways, I think BirdDog will have to take a closer look at the audio side of things, especially when we get into the AV space, which is we're on the cusp of doing because we've got all these AV products that are poised to hit the market. Which, by the way, we need to do an open gear demonstration because that has been announced, and I have one. Actually, I have a few. So we need to do an open gear demonstration in the next couple of weeks. Actually, either Thursday or in a couple of weeks. So the news, what is today? Tuesday? Good golly. So the news is, so I'm here this week and gone next week. I might be around to do the Thursday show next week, but I'll be gone definitely on Tuesday. And I have no agreement with Streamvillain yet to do Tuesday's show, so we'll have to figure out maybe what's happening there. But anyways, next week I'm traveling a little bit and part of a camping trip that I'm directing. So just a small role there. But yeah, so I'll be away next week, but then back in the US on Thursday and then obviously the following week. So we'll do an open gear demonstration. It's a little bit tricky because obviously you're using the Ross dashboard, an open gear chassis. And there's some things we need to talk about there about what to expect and what not to expect. But then also once you get it all up and running, it's basically just like a web UI, just like you would any other product that we have. So you can log into it and use that. So we will go over more of that in the coming weeks. But we will do a show on Thursday and plan to be with you again. At least I will. I'm kind of liking having Clay join us because it gives me something more to talk about than just talking to myself.
It's fun to be here. It's at the sacrifice of catching up on some of the tickets coming in, but we're okay. So if there's a little bit of a delay in the next week or so, if you're in here and you have a ticket and it's taking a little bit longer than you would think to get a response, we're just dealing with some folks like John wanting to do things like go on vacation.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Preposterous.
So just bear with us, but I try to get back to people same day as often as I can, but it may be a little bit more than that, especially if you just open the ticket. But yeah, I like being here, man. It's fun.
Cool. Well,
for having
what
me.
you may not realize is that Clay is the primary agent right now because I don't have anybody in Europe and I don't have anybody in Australia. So I've got other guys that do other things and they jump in on tickets occasionally. But for the most part, it's mainly Clayton that's been handling
Just
incoming tickets. So
just waiting through the tickets.
we are definitely interviewing and trying to find somebody. But as it is with everybody, it's kind of hard to hire people
Fine.
right now. So
Yeah.
we're looking. I may just need to hire more US people and have them cover different time zones. I mean, it'd be easy for training, but
It would be. That'd be great.
maybe we should talk about that because that's if we can't find anybody over there. Like we've had a couple of candidates in Australia that didn't work out, and then we had one in Europe that inquired, but it didn't work out. And so yeah, it's getting a little sketch. But anyways, we'll figure that out. It's all in good time. And anyways, in the meantime, all that to say, yeah, Clay's been handling pretty much the majority of the tickets. So feel free to submit a ticket. You will likely hear from him. And if you don't hear from him, it will probably come to me. So you'll hear from one of us. And
Likely.
if you hate submitting tickets, feel free to join us Tuesday, Thursdays from 11 to 12.
Yeah.
And we can certainly help you here. Happy to answer your NDI questions. And I appreciate NetHab and Webb and all these guys that jumped in today to ask some relevant NDI questions while we tried Pocky, the treat from, I don't know, where's this from? The delectable treat from Thailand. It's a product of Thailand.
And everybody just remember, Pop Rocks are a social experience.
Yes. If you're looking back on for today's show because you just enjoyed it so much, I will change the title, at least on YouTube, and you'll be able to find it quickly. So,
all right,
good times.
I'm gonna head out, John.
Great oldies.
I'm pretty sure you're probably ending the show, but I'm gonna head out first. So
sounds good. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Yep.
We will talk to you soon, and for
easy.
the rest of you, cheers. Have a great week, and